Man, that's like my favorite question to answer ever. All right. So the Bible says that God did it that way so that he could be both. Let me say it and then explain it. So he could be both just and the justifier of the ungodly. All right. So just and justifier. All right. So my favorite way to illustrate this is by a story. Okay. So best illustration of why Jesus had it on the cross I've ever heard. All right. It goes like this. Once upon a time, in a far off kingdom, there was a king who was known by everyone in the kingdom to be the most just and loving king who had ever lived. But then it was discovered that somebody was stealing from the king's treasury. And so the king, being a just king, he sent out an edict that whenever it was discovered who was stealing from the king's treasury, that person would receive 10 lashes. Well, the theft continued, and so he issued another decree. When it's discovered who's stealing from the king's treasury, it'll be 20 lashes. Theft continued, 30 lashes. Until finally the king issued a final decree, and he said, when it's discovered who's stealing from the king's treasury, it will be a sentence of 40 lashes. Now, the problem with that was that 40 lashes was a death sentence. And so the theft continued until eventually it was discovered that none other than the king's daughter was the one who was stealing from the treasury. So then a question began to ripple through the kingdom. What would the king do? Some thought he would forgive her, but then how would he be just? Some thought that he would issue the sentence, but then how would he be loving? Well, it was decided. The king sat down and decided, you know what?